Frankly, I can't watch these horrible films. I once did, and I sort of leapt out my chair and ended up outside the door of my office because it is just, I'm sorry, too horrifying. And, you know, I, in actual fact, do not like to see it. I feel too much for people. I hate to see suffering, etc. And I'm not a wilting flower. I'm, you know, a pretty strong person. But I can't stand that, and how these monsters can do this sort of thing, I have not got the faintest clue. And they say they have some belief, and they want that belief to come here, and they want the Sharia law that authorizes that belief and the cutting off of heads, the cutting off of hands, and all these things. And you say, well, I'm being extreme. I'm not being extreme. I'm just reporting what their own people are saying. Don't call me extreme. What I'm telling you is in actual fact what is being told at their own mosques as they're shouting and screaming. Go and listen to this video here by this poor woman here, Bridget Gabriel, on YouTube here, a survivor of Islamic terror wars in America. And all you people who are liberal, go and have a look at this. It'll do your souls good to understand what is coming on this nation through your liberalism. Another one says, why I left Islam, Noni Dorwish, a journalist who left the Middle East because of the terrible things that were being said in the mosques that she was attending, and she went to America. Now she said it's all followed her here, and of course in Britain. We know these preachers are on the street, Hook and all these men, all shouting and screaming hatred. Now, I thought this country had rules against having private armies. We have gangs wandering the streets. I mean, how horrific it is. You suddenly found yourself in this huge gang of men wrapped with tea towels around their head, all shouting and screaming death to you and all this sort of thing. What is this government doing? It's about time they got hold of the streets. Stop verbalizing things, get it done. Take all the work off these policemen so they can get out there and release them, because we've got to get this country back under control. They're calling certain areas their nation now. It is not. It is part of Britain, and they stay here at our say-so. And I must tell you that the time is coming when I don't know what's going to happen. You know, if this government doesn't start listening, what are they trying to do? Have riots in the streets? Is this what they want from the white people who are so angry and frustrated? Is this the sort of insurrection they want? And this is what they're going to get. You know, I just want to read you something that I, in actual fact, received from some friends this morning, and these are ministers, actually, of churches, and this was sent by it was written by a Canadian woman who lived in New Brunswick in Canada, and as one person wrote, he said, this one packs a firm punch. She should be Prime Minister. And she asks the following: are we fighting a war on terror, aren't we? Was it, or was it not, started by Islamic people who brought it to our shores on September the 11th, 2001, and have continually threatened to do so since? Now, there's certain men on here who were Muslims, and his name was Dr. Darwish, I think his name was, Dr. Twelik Harvard, and he in actual fact said that it wasn't like this, but now it's become like this. And then a woman who was living in Lebanon, peacefully among the Christians there, Bridget Gabriel, she said suddenly in 1975 they started to attack all the Christians. And her article on this YouTube here is Bridget Gabriel, a survivor Islamic terror, wars in America. So when this lady says September 11th, she's only talking about America. This started way back in 1970 time, this terrible extremism. They're cutting people's heads off in Lebanon. They said they're absolutely terrified. And then they were doing was putting tanks next to their homes and firing at the Israelis, so the Israelis would fire back and kill them. That is what they were doing. They weren't doing it to the Muslims, but they were doing it to them. So if that sounds extreme, I'm not saying it. I'm reporting what a person who lived through it went through. And if that sounds extreme, tough. Were people from all over the world not brutally murdered that day in downtown Manhattan? That's the Twin Towers, of course. Across the Potomac from the capital of the USA. That's, of course, in the Pentagon. And in the field of Pennsylvania. That's, of course, where that plane was brought down by those thugs who took it over. Did nearly 3,000 men, women, and children die a horrible burning and crushing death that day, or didn't they? And I'm supposed to care that a few Taliban were claiming to be tortured by a justice system of the nation they came from and are fighting against in a brutal insurgency? I mean, they've killed lots of our people. I'll start caring when Osama bin Laden turned himself in and repents of incinerating all those innocent people in 9/11. Remember, they tried once before in New York, and they weren't successful, but they tried again and they won. I'll care about the Quran when the fanatics in the Middle East start caring about the Holy Bible, the mere belief of which is a crime punishable by heading in Afghanistan, and I might add a lot of other countries over there as well. And you know, during the various wars with Israel, before the war, all the Muslims were happy in Pakistan. As well, one Christian minister said to me, he said straight after that, we had to go and hide. When they lost the war, all hell broke loose. They attacked them, and it was burning churches and threatening them. It was horrific. You don't hear these things. Our liberal press do not report them, because it's not nice. I'll care when these thugs tell the world they are sorry for hacking off Nick Berg's head, while Berg was screaming through his gurgling slashed throat. Isn't that horrible? Can you imagine? Blood spurting everywhere. This poor guy drowning to death in his own blood, and these guys laughing and cutting his head off. What thugs they are. What terrible people. And that he isn't the only one, I must tell you. You can go on this site here, YouTube, and you can see lots of them being done by these people. You know, you want to use stronger language, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to descend to their level. I'll care when the cowardly so-called insurgents in Afghanistan come out and fight like men instead of disrespecting their own manhood, their own religion, by hiding in mosques and behind women and children. I'll care when the mindless zealots who blow themselves up in search of nirvana care about the innocent children within range of their suicidal bombs. I'll care when the Canadian media stops pretending that their freedom of speech on stories is more important than the lives of soldiers on the ground and their families waiting at home to hear about them when something happens. And when I say Canadian media, I'll say British media, I'll say Australian media, American media. It's all this media, and they're owned by the same wretched crowd. They're keeping us in this happy land. In the meantime, when I hear a story about a Canadian, British or American or Australian soldier roughing up an terrorist insurgent to obtain information, know this: I don't care. When I see a wounded terrorist get shot in the head when he is not told not to move because he might be booby-trapped, you can take it to the bank. I don't care either. When I hear that prisoner who is issued a Quran and a prayer mat and fed special food that is paid for by my tax dollars is complaining that his holy book is being mishandled, you can absolutely believe in your hearts, I don't care. What about the other people who are in their hands? How many of them live through the experience? Very few, I might add. Oh, and by the way, I've noticed that sometimes it's spelled Quran and other times Quran, Q-U-R-A-N. Well, Jimmy Crackcorn, you guessed it, I don't care. This woman writes a very good letter, don't you think? I haven't finished yet. If you agree with this viewpoint, pass it on to your email. Sooner or later it will get to the people responsible for this ridiculous Western behavior. If you don't agree, then by all means hit the delete button. Should you choose the latter, then please don't complain when more atrocities are committed by radical Muslims in your own country and happen here. And may I add, some people spend the entire lifetime wondering if they made a difference in the world, but the soldiers don't have that problem, who are out on the front and seeing bullets whiz around their heads all the time, while our armchair politicians sort of say, do you think we treat those people too badly? You know, we should take all those terrible things off them. Meanwhile, our men are dying while you are cooking rubbish. I have another quote that I would like to add, and I hope you forward this. One last thought for the day. Only 5 defining forces have ever offered to die for you. Yeshua, the son of Yahweh, also known as Jesus Christ. The British soldier, the Canadian soldier, the US soldier, and the Australian soldier. One died for your soul, and the latter 4 for your freedom. And you might want to pass this on to many who seem to forget all of them. Amen. And I would like to also say that all those people in history who died for our freedoms are being betrayed as well. Thank you very much. And if you want to see more, I've collected a lot of these videos onto this website, which, you know, as far as I'm concerned, YouTube is a tremendous operation, and it really is needed in this liberal world.